At a prep school, a boy is studying when his friends distract him, saying he wouldn't want to end up like someone. He looks up, confused, and follows their eyes. A girl from the bottom-tier high school stands outside. She's known for her bad reputation. The boys stare at her and comment that she looks dumb. One of them waves, thinking she might be looking for him, but she turns away sharply. They call her unfriendly and claim she's just a cheeky girl with an attitude. Next to the top-ranked prep school in the country stands the bottom-tier school. It's ironic how the two, despite the gap in status, still share some interaction. Two students talk about the future of the bottom-tier kids, convinced they don't care about it. One says their only option is to find a sugar daddy and play the victim until they grow old. Their laughter echoes through the air. The same boy is again disrupted by his fellows. He tries to stop them from making such a huge thing at once in their mind. While something else is going on in his mind, perhaps he has made a mistake. Suddenly, he reads something that spooks him, something very rare, the description of a family, people with close blood ties. After school, he finally reaches home. As he fumbles for his keys to unlock the door, his sister swings it open from inside. He excitedly shares his return, but she dismisses him with a wave of her hand. Curious, he asks why she's in a rush, only to be shut down with a warning to stay out of her business. She's not in the mood for sibling banter, labeling him a nosy virgin. He cautions her to watch her step, and as she spins around, he spots a price tag clinging to her pants. Shocked, she snatches it away and crumples it, demanding to know why he's eyeing her threads like a creep. With a dramatic step forward, she sarcastically wishes him a swift demise. He ponders their tense exchange. She's a Garu, that infamous sassy girl, and notes their lack of blood relation. In the afternoon, he is studying with his friend Dujin. During homework, he asks him about the meaning of a family. His friend simply answers that family is just family, or simply something that is precious. Then Dujin asks if he is worried about his sister. He admits it and praises his guess. They have been best friends for years, so known by each other very well. He seems more concerned about his sister. He reveals that though they are siblings, they don't share a deep bond. Whenever he tries to talk to his sister, she turns it into a fight and brings more distance between them. As he's in the middle of pouring his heart out, Dujin whips out his phone and excitedly shows him the latest from the infamous Mugen Sensei. Our guy can't believe his buddy would interrupt their deep convo like this. Dujin offers to help smooth things over with his sister, but our guy puts his foot down, telling him to lay off the risque manga before his fantasies get out of control. Dujin insists that breaking his sister's pride will make her more honest and cute, but our guy's not buying it. Poor guy feels lost, but Dujin gives him a pep talk to man up and talk to his sister. Later that night, he comes home to a table already set for dinner. Looks like mom and dad were waiting for him. His dad gush over his mom's cooking, while Tanuki jokes about it being a daily ritual. His father asks him to call his sister for dinner. He knocks on her door and says the food is ready, but the silence inside makes him wonder if she's even home. Then the door swings open. She stands there in a revealing outfit. He invites her to dinner, but she refuses. When he tries to insist, she tells him to stop waiting for her. He reminds her that they're family and should eat together. Irritated, she snaps that they're not a real family. He hesitates, then asks where she's going dressed like that. She fires back, saying she can wear whatever she wants and warns him to stop staring. She didn't used to be like this. Something in the family has shifted. He wants to help her understand, but deep down he knows there's no understanding left between them. Laughter bounces off the walls of a house as Kano-chan sits surrounded by 4 boys and a girl. Tears well up in her eyes as they all enjoy food and alcohol. Forced to sit between 2 boys, they pressure her to drink, but she adamantly refuses, stating she's not a fan. Despite her protests, one boy pushes the booze on her, prompting the girl to step in and plead for kindness towards Kano, who was a struggle to bring along. The girl had promised Kano that only 2 of them would be there, but it seems the entire gang had other ideas. The boy places a hand on Kano, offering her a drink and urging her to stop being so difficult. He tells her to finish it in one go. She shifts uncomfortably, clearly uneasy with how close he is. Another girl in the group laughs, teasing him for trying too hard and hinting at his intentions. Embarrassed, he tells her to be quiet, then turns back to Kano, again pushing her to drink. She brushes his hand off and starts to leave, but he catches her arm. His tone changes, firm, almost threatening, as he tells her to stop acting like she doesn't know why she's there. He compliments her appearance, confused as to why someone like her would be disliked at school. Frustrated, he raises his voice, demanding she drink. Startled and overwhelmed, Kano gives in. After finishing the drink, she stumbles and collapses. the room spinning around her. Their voices become distant echoes in her mind. Someone asks where the others went, implying they're busy elsewhere. Kano barely whispers that she wants to go home, but someone stops her, saying they haven't even started explaining why she was invited in the first place. Kano is lying unconscious. A boy grabs her face in her hands and admires her looks, probably the reason for being hated by other women. The other one asks about her little younger brother, but gets to know that she has no blood relations with him. His gaze lingers on her with an unsettling intensity. He wishes to have a sister like her too. Both of them are touching her, when a delivery boy knocks at the door with some food. All of them are shocked as they have not ordered anything. One of them goes to receive the order and opens the door. The delivery boy is hiding her face with a hoodie and a cap. A boy arrives with a box of fancy sushi, saying Kano ordered it. Tempted by the aroma, the group eagerly digs in, unaware the delivery boy is actually Kano's younger brother, and that he's deceived them. While they eat and chat about Kano, calling her kind despite being tricked by a friend, the boy slips into the back room where she lies unconscious, breathing faintly. Moments later, he reappears with Kano in his arms and heads for the door. The others demand he stop. Kariya grabs his shoulder, but freezes when he sees the boy's face, Kano's brother. Without flinching, the boy calmly says he's taking back what matters. Then he addresses Kariya by his full name, Kariya Yuhai, student at City University of Technology. Kariya scoffs, accusing him of making threats. In response, the boy lists off unsettling details about Kariya's life, his background, fights at home, a history of bullying, and an old assault incident. Stunned, Kariya asks how he knows all this. Just rumors, the boy replies coldly. Then he warns the group to stop their reckless behavior before it catches up with them. His words leave the room in tense silence. He takes Kano home and leaves her at the doorstep. It's only the beginning, his first step toward helping her find her way back. Kano is lying at the front door. Her brother tries to wake her up. She blinks her eyes and finds that he is wearing no shoes. She seems worried about him and says that he may catch a cold. He sits down and asks her about sleeping at the door. She aggressively replies that it's out of his business. Then he gives her a water bottle. She looks at him in shock. He claims they'd practically forced booze down her throat, even though she couldn't handle it. She stubbornly refuses to take the water bottle, so he just shrugs and walks away. Later on, she grabs the bottle and struggles to open it. Getting frustrated, she starts yelling for help, but he's already in his room with the door shut. She's suddenly acting a little differently, confused by her own behavior. Meanwhile, he's on the other side of the door, convinced he's only gotten through to her about 9% of the way. He knows he still has a long way to go, but he's determined to keep at it. The next morning, Kano stands under the shower, water streaming down as her thoughts drift back to the night before. She eventually sinks into the bathtub, replaying the memories, being tricked by a friend, surrounded by unfamiliar boys, the feeling of panic, the loss of control, and then, her brother arriving, pulling her out of that place. The scent of his cologne still lingers faintly in the bathroom. She splashes water on her face, unsettled. It bothers her how he saved her, even though she always brushes him off, accusing him of meddling. She tells herself it doesn't change anything, but her expression betrays her unease. Then she suddenly remembers her bag, the one she had with her last night. Meanwhile, at the prep school, Dujin excitedly calls Tanuki to the rooftop, eager to question him. But Tanuki, clearly irritated, takes his time. He's not in the mood to be rushed. Later, they sit together sharing lunch. Dujin brings up the sushi incident and how Tanuki boldly took his sister from a group of delinquent boys. He's surprised by how quickly the rumors are spreading. Convinced Tanuki has a plan to fix things, he asks whether Kano returned willingly, or if he forced her to listen. Annoyed, Tanuki shuts him down, saying he hates the twisted fantasies people create about his sister. Dujin realizes he crossed a line and apologizes. Tanuki, though frustrated, thanks him. After all, his buddy encouraged him to act. He explains that although Kano is known as a flashy Jaru, she lashes out when approached. But beneath that, he sees someone shy and easily swayed. He knows that using force would only push her further away, possibly traumatizing her. That's why he'll keep his distance, hoping to guide her subtly toward change. His plan? Investigate her environment, understand the root of her behavior, and use strategy, not pressure, to reach her. He'll do whatever it takes to help her. Dojin is stunned. Bursting into that Yurisa's room isn't like him. But Tanuki calmly says he just wants to see his sister smile again. He believes her coldness is shaped by her surroundings, not her nature. Dojin teases, asking if he plans to steal her back completely. Tanuki scoffs, calling that a crude way to put it. When Dojin jokes about mental notori, Tanuki rolls his eyes and calls him a creep. Just then, his phone rings. It's their mother, panicked. Kano has collapsed. Tanuki's expression shifts. He stands up, suddenly serious. He hurries back home only to discover that Kano is under the weather. He bought okayu for her and heads to her room. Knock knock, but no one answers, so he boldly barges in. She gives him a death stare and accuses him of mocking her. He explains that mom sent him with okayu to help her feel better. But she stubbornly refuses to eat, claiming she won't get better anyway. He tries to reason with her, pointing out that she needs fuel to heal. She adamantly declines, blaming her sickness on her flimsy outfit from the night before. He jabs back, reminding her that she's only feeling queasy because they made her tipsy. She breaks down, lamenting their lack of sibling connection and feeling like a loner in the family. She brings up how she constantly lashes out at him with hurtful words, questioning why he bothers with her. He simply replies that as family, he's got her back. He casually suggests removing the food if she's not interested, but she surprises him by grabbing his shirt and declaring she's ready to dig in. His shocked expression turns into acceptance after she apologizes. He wonders if she can handle it herself or if he needs to play the role of food server. She playfully calls him annoying and insists she can manage alone. Somehow they manage to reach a solid 38% understanding. Meanwhile, over in school, the teachers are scratching their heads over Kano's blank future goals sheet. Looks like she could use a little nudge in the right direction, as she keeps leaving it empty like a stubborn puzzle she can't solve. The next day, Kano goes to Hisho Public High School in Hiroshima. It's a private high school located in the heart of the city. In class, the teacher explains how lessons are divided among school days by different instructors. He mentions that students must attend in plain clothes and that elective classes offer a high degree of freedom. The school accepts both male and female students over the age of 15, often those who have experienced academic setbacks. As she walks downstairs, she overhears students chatting about the long distance between the science and civics labs. Others are discussing credit hours and their homeroom teachers. One student even mentions he doesn't plan to take next year's exams. While placing her history report in the mailbox, she notices a shorter student struggling to reach the slot. He's asking about the comprehensive Japanese assignment. She helps him, explaining that once he's compiled all the reports, he should submit them to the mailbox in front of the staff room. He thanks her and asks why she seems so calm. Just as she's about to answer, her homeroom teacher, Higashi, walks in and asks if she's recovered from her cold. Chuckling, he says she should be thankful to her family and admits he was worried she might fail another year. Then he invites her to the guidance counselor's office to complete the section on her future goals. When she enters the counselor's room, the teacher reveals that he is glad to see her there. She would never come if he had not called her. He asks her to sit there and turns to make some coffee. He reminds her that the teachers are always busier than they seem to be, so to make time for such interviews is a lot of trouble. She doesn't respond, so he says that her egoistic behavior is causing problems for him. She immediately apologizes. He laughs and claims that he is worried about her. Indeed, her defeated face is pleasing him. He finds it funny that a precise pick at her weak spot shows up on her face, which he likes the most. He says that if she wants higher education, then she should consider her age. Otherwise, her family will be bothered by her. She clenches her fist and begins to apologize with tears in her eyes. She makes an arousing face. He forbids her to apologize. He simply reveals his concerns about her future and graduation. He is well aware that she has low self-esteem and can't speak about the situation. She is suffering from a special home situation. He doesn't want her to become a woman like her mother, who threw her own child. He says that she should not be troublesome for her relatives who raised her up. He claims that he is the only one who can understand her feelings. She's the black sheep in the family, making it easy for others to manipulate her. He swoops in to play the hero, but she's not having it. She brushes him off, and he takes it as a rude gesture. As she heads for the door, claiming she has another class, he probes about her future plans. She coyly responds that she'll consult her family before making any decisions. It's the first time when she has answered so impudently. He assures her that he is always there to support and rehabilitate her. She remembers his harsh words, and her eyes fill with tears. She walks out of the school. Unexpectedly, she comes across her younger brother with his friend on the road. Tanuki asks Kano if she's heading home, but she stays silent. He watches her closely, as if trying to read what she's thinking. Dujin, visibly excited, is happy to see her again after such a long time. Noticing her red eyes, Tanuki gently asks if she's been crying. She quickly turns away and tells him not to look at her. When she asks how he knew, he replies simply, "It's obvious." Without responding, she suddenly starts walking quickly in the opposite direction. Tanuki points out that she's heading away from home and begins to follow. She tells him not to. Suddenly, Dujin slips and falls on the road. Kano turns around and asks if he's okay. Tanuki also checks on him, but Dujin, unbothered, jumps up and confidently introduces himself as Tanuki's best friend. Kano looks at him in disbelief. Dujin smiles and compliments her kindness, calling it a nice moment for their reunion. He then invites her to walk home with them. On the way, they stop at a convenience store and buy ice cream. Dojin is overly cheerful, prompting Tanuki to call him chipper. He points out that Kano's ice cream is melting, and she immediately snaps at him in annoyance. While her ice cream bar drips messily, Dujin happily crunches into his cone. She watches him, clearly irritated, struggling to enjoy hers. As the ice cream drips onto Kano's shirt, Tanuki inquires about the accident. Kano casually brushes it off as a slip-up. Tanuki, being the helpful gentleman that he is, suggests using his handkerchief. Kano, feeling stubborn, declines the offer. Tanuki then raises the valid point of walking home in sticky clothes. With no other cleaning options in sight, he jokingly highlights the discomfort. She tells him to be quiet, but he says it would be awkward to walk around like that, and that dirty clothes could leave a bad impression. He encourages her to be honest with her feelings and take the handkerchief. After a brief hesitation, she finally asks for it. When he hands it to her, he smirks, and she notices. Annoyed, she asks if he is making fun of her. Suddenly, Dujin starts mumbling about how this is part of Tanuki's plan to get close to her and draw out her real emotions. Tanuki quickly covers Dujin's mouth and tells him to stop talking. Unexpectedly, Kano hands them her bag and says to take it home as she will come later. Kano arrives at Korea's place to retrieve the handbag she left behind. He seems unusually cheerful. It's been a while since he last saw her. She explains she's only there to collect her things and refuses to step inside, asking him to bring the bag out. Korea smirks, calling her selfish. Still, he hesitates. Her quiet, worn-down appearance makes it hard to push her too far. He tries to persuade her, saying he missed her, but she remains firm. Eventually, he brings the bag. She thanks him, but as she turns to leave, he grabs her by the shoulder. "I can't just let you go like this," he says, pulling her inside. He claims he's worried about her and sits her down on the couch. Then he takes out his phone and calls his friends, inviting them over for the night, mentioning she's there. As he talks, Kano begins to remember what happened the last time, her unease growing. A message suddenly lights up her phone screen. It's from Tanuki, asking when she'll be home and mentioning there's hamburger steak for dinner. She replies that she'll be late, not ready to explain, but deep down she feels warmth. Her brother is waiting. She has a home, a family. Korea grins and tells her that everyone will be arriving soon. "Let's make some memories before they get here," he adds, leaning toward her. Without warning, she slaps him. Stunned, he watches as she stands up and heads for the door. He calls out, warning her that leaving now will mean being excluded from their group, but she just smirks. She mentions the hamburger steak waiting at home and her younger brother who cares for her. And with that, she walks out, finally choosing herself. At night, Tanuki is busy cooking when he receives messages from his mother. She tells him about the trip vouchers and his father's excitement. Then the door opens and Kano walks in. He welcomes her warmly. She is surprised to see him cooking and asks about their parents. He explains that they went on a trip after winning 2 tickets to an onsen. The table is already set for dinner. She compliments the food, and he hesitates before admitting that he made it. She smiles and says she wants to eat right away, then goes to wash her hands. He quietly wonders if the old Anaki is starting to return. While washing her hands, Kano reflects on how badly she's treated Tanuki in the past. She feels ashamed but tries to hide her guilt, composing herself before returning. When she turns around, she finds him watching her. She sits down, praises the meal again, and picks up her chopsticks. As she tastes the food, she keeps her expression calm but genuinely appreciates his cooking. While they eat, he finally breaks the silence. He gently suggests that she doesn't need to try so hard to fix everything at once. He points out that whenever she feels nervous and tries to hide her emotions, her eyebrows furrow and her voice gets quiet. He adds that she tends to feel bad about everything and often seems unsure of what expression to wear. She clenches her fists and tells him to shut up. But then, unexpectedly, she begins to open up. She admits that she pushed him away because of her inferiority complex and constantly lashed out at him. Despite all of that, he always treated her with kindness, which only made her feel worse. She says she keeps pretending nothing happened, and in doing so, she loses track of how she's supposed to feel or act. Tanuki tells her to calm down and explains that this is normal between siblings, fighting, making up, eating together, and facing things with a smile. He gently reminds her of the meaning of family, that being siblings means clashing, struggling, regretting, and growing together. Moved by his words, she smiles and vows to remember them. She begins to giggle, calling him a cheeky younger brother. Then she turns her attention back to the meal, continuing to eat her steak, a clear sense of happiness on her face. Tanuki watches her, knowing well that whenever she eats her favorite food, a genuine smile always lights up her face. Meanwhile, in the school's guidance counselor's room, Higashioka is looking at Kano's picture with a twisted smile. Her eyes seem to represent a path opening before him. He quietly declares that guiding her is the true reason he became a teacher. She just can't seem to put the fork down. It's like a never-ending food marathon with her. Then, out of nowhere, he swoops in with a bowl of Japanese-style soup perfectly crafted to her likings. He proudly boasts about the fine meat he got from the local butcher for the miso soup, and even brags about his non-sticky rice cooking skills. Kano, now convinced he's a culinary genius, is quickly brought back to reality when he points out a stray hamburger patty stuck to her face. Cue the embarrassment and rosy cheeks as she frantically searches for it, with his helpful hand guiding her. She finally musters up the courage to ask him to double-check for any other food residue on her face, only to be met with a firm denial. The next day, Tanuki shares extra hamburgers with Dujin during lunch and tells him about the dinner he made for her sis the night before. He explains that she only feels at ease when it's just the two of them, so he used the chance to help her relax and eat properly, especially since she's been unwell and emotionally distant. Dojin teases him for going all out, even joking that Tanuki paid for their parents' trip just to be alone with her. He adds that the dinner helped improve their communication and ease her anxiety. Dojin asks the reason for being too concerned, as if she is not his real sister. He finally reveals that Kano is actually his cousin, not his sister. As he begins to answer Dujin's question, his friend shifts his attention to the intense guidance counselor, Higashioka, from the neighboring high school. Curious, Tanuki looks him up online and finds an interview praising his sharp-tongued persona and record of guiding students to top universities. However, a deeper search reveals a 5-year-old interview hinting at past misconduct that led to his transfer, followed by harassment allegations. Tanuki grows uneasy, hoping nothing bad happens. Later, while packing up after class, Tanuki reflects on why he cares so much about Kano, despite her past behavior. The answer is simple: she's family. Suddenly, an announcement calls Tanuki to the staff room, an unusual occurrence. Dojin rushes in, urging him to hurry. Inside, he introduces himself, but is quickly cut off by Higashioka-sensei, who greets him with a sinister smile and says he looks forward to working with him. When Tanuki enters the staff room, Higashioka introduces himself as the instructor of the high school next door. He decides to give the impression that he is going to isolate Kano Komaru. He has a plan to declare her a problematic student. Tanuki's teacher interrupts in and asks Higashioka for the reason he is there, if he has some business with Tanuki. Tanuki is aware that Higashioka coaxes the kids over, but the chatter is an issue. Higashioka reveals that Tanuki's cohabitant is his student. Tanuki's teacher claims that he is aware of Kano and has had a detailed meeting with her parents, but Higashioka is sticking to his point. Tanuki interrupts and asks the matter about Kano. Higashioka says that he is relieved to know that Kano has such a polite and capable relative. Then he comes to the main point and pulls out the future goals sheet. Tanuki seems confused, then Higashioka tells him that even after getting guidance counseling again and again, she has been clinging to a goal. He says that she wants to continue her cosmetology school, although it's very difficult at her age. Tanuki finds it a bad response from her. Higashioka says that if she couldn't get a steady job, then she would be troublesome for her family. Higashioka thinks that Tanuki is a pubescent boy and must be annoyed if some nuisance cohabitant with no blood relation would cause him trouble. He laughs and says that she wants to discuss her future goals with her family. He just wants to see Tanuki's reaction. Meanwhile, Tanuki is pleased to hear that she mentioned her family for consultation. Higashioka has comprehended that Tanuki is the reason behind the change in Kano's behavior. but he pretends to be happy that she has good relatives. He decides to make a plan so that he can clear the obstacle in his way to get Kano in his hands and become a good instructor. Then he tells Tanuki to give a printout of the future goals sheet to his sister and leaves the room. When they come out of the staff room, Dojin says that Higashioka has not changed since he met him before. They are just in shock. Tanuki finds it funny that the homeroom teacher sank into the background. Dojin is curious to know the reason for keeping Higashioka as an instructor in the school, despite the problems caused by him in his past. Tanuki says that perhaps he finds the correspondence school a safe place to hide and is a bit relaxed. He believes the teacher hasn't changed one bit but will become worse. Dojin is confused to hear this. Deep inside, Tanuki has a bad feeling that Higashioka is obsessing over Oneki. Kano is studying when Tanuki arrives home. Tired and hungry, she plans to eat the hamburger steaks he made. As he walks past, casually greeting her, she jumps in surprise and scolds him for sneaking up. He's confused by her reaction, but she brushes it off, saying she's focused on finishing her homework before school resumes. When he realizes it's for her correspondence classes, he praises her effort. Not used to encouragement, she suspects sarcasm and compares it to people cheering when a delinquent saves a cat. Tanuki calmly explains that whether she's straight-laced or not, he'll praise her for doing what matters. It's just his way. She notices his familiar smirk and laughs, remembering how he used to do the same as a kid. But her smile fades when he brings up Higashioka. Shocked, she immediately demands to know where he heard that name. Kano's face shows clear fear when Tanuki mentions Higashioka. She asks if something happened, and he lies, saying he just heard the name from Takenaka, along with some school rumors. Sensing his concern, she accuses him of hiding something and calls him an idiot. She then reveals that Higashioka had visited Tanuki's school, and she suspects he knows more than he's letting on. Trying to stay composed, Kano opens up. She shares how Higashioka discouraged her from pursuing her long-time dream of becoming a cosmetician, saying it would burden her family. He even tossed aside her future goals sheet. Since then, she hasn't trusted the career guidance system and has no one to talk to. Tears form as she admits feeling lost and panicked at 21, believing she needs to give up on her dreams and just become self-sufficient. Tanuki is stunned by how deeply Higashioka's manipulation has affected her. As she cries, saying she only causes trouble, Tanuki gently grabs her wrists and tells her there's nothing wrong with her dream. He urges her to rely on family and not give up. A flicker of hope returns to her eyes. When he offers her hamburger steaks, she suddenly pushes him away and tells him not to touch her. He apologizes, and she asks if he overheard her earlier when she was home alone. Tanuki moves quietly to the kitchen. Meanwhile, Kano is left brooding over Higashioka's influence. In her room, Tanuki notices her diary where she once wrote about her dream. He becomes even more determined to protect her and help her find her way, his own way. Tanaka asks his friend to join him for karaoke, but the friend refuses, citing a field day committee meeting. Tanaka, a Class 2A student and committee member, dreads attending. Just then, Tanuki enters and offers to attend the meeting in his place. At the meeting room, Bandai, a strict senior from Class 3A, leads the session. The secretary hands out printouts, and Bandai demands to know if the 2A member has arrived. Machuzuki, the female rep from 2A, replies that he hasn't. Bandai angrily warns that future tardiness will result in group apologies. Tanuki arrives just in time, introduces himself, and explains he's replacing Tanaka, who's supposedly at cram school. He takes a seat next to Machuzuki, who casually asks about Tanaka. Tanuki admits Tanaka's actually at karaoke, something he arranged to avoid standing around with nothing to do. Machuzuki is surprised, noting Tanuki doesn't seem like the committee type. But he has a hidden motive. The prep and correspondence schools share the same field, and as a committee member, he can move freely to keep an eye on Higashioka and protect Kano. When Machuzuki unexpectedly asks about his sister, he freezes and their eyes meet for the first time. Tanuki is keeping her sister a secret from the whole class because he is aware that she wouldn't like it if their familial relationship is exposed. He simply covers the situation, saying that it's natural for rumors to be spread, even though there is no truth behind them. He doesn't know where Machuzuki heard about his sister. But for her protection, he has to lie. He bluntly says that he is the only child of his parents. He declares that she has made it in her own head. She asks if there is anything wrong with him, but he denies it. She smirks and says that he is lying in order to protect his sister. She reveals that she has been keeping an eye on him as he avoids standing out. He gets shocked and can't understand her scheme. He clenches his fist and is confused about her purpose in doing this. Bandai forbids whispering and starts the second field day executive committee meeting. He declares that the field day has a connection to the educational advancement in their school. Many other schools are involved in their field day. He tells about the centerpiece of the event, the Scavengers Hunt Race. This is the traditional event, as last year's victors have moved to prestigious universities, so there is a great need to make this event successful this year. Then he announces the division of responsibilities among the members. All the members of a class would work together in pairs as mentioned in the documents. Machuzuki processes his words in her mind, then Bandai distributes the documents to confirm the assignments. Tanuki is assigned the role of the manager. He has to prepare the necessary goods for the field day. It's a golden chance for him to do legitimate work as he can move freely without standing out. After joining the committee, he can also do things for her sister, but it would need some prep work. Machuzuki asks him if he's headed to the classroom. Then she offers him to go and get it together. But he is confused about whether she is a friend or a foe. Tanuki and Machuzuki stroll down the school corridor like they own the place. He decides it's time to break the ice and starts by thanking her for letting him crash their little meeting. He then musters up the courage to ask for permission to interrogate her about her questionable spy tactics. Machuzuki just chuckles and wonders if he's referring to the top-secret mission involving his sister. Turns out she tried to strike up a conversation with him earlier, but he was too busy avoiding eye contact like a pro. She felt like she was being a bully, so she resorted to using his sister as a conversation starter. Tanuki demands to know where she got this classified information, but Machuzuki plays coy and assures him she's a vault of secrets. Tanuki remains skeptical, which only elicits laughter from Machuzuki, as if she didn't see that coming. Then she suggests a deal in sync with his cautions. She proposes to him to be her lover in exchange for keeping the secret. He is shocked to hear her words. Meanwhile, at his home, someone is ringing the doorbell. Perhaps the siblings are going to host a guest. The doorbell rings loudly, echoing through the house. Thinking it's Tanuki, Kano opens the door, only to find Dojin standing there instead. Dressed casually, she looks unexpectedly cute, and Dojin is momentarily stunned, feeling like his wish has come true. Her cheeky reputation suddenly seems very real. Annoyed by the loud ringing, she tells him to be patient. Dojin wants to compliment her, but all he manages to say is that she's rude. She quickly apologizes for talking too much. He asks if Tanuki is home, explaining they plan to study together after school. Dojin can't help but notice how different she seems from their last meeting, less rough around the edges, more composed. Still, he holds back any odd remarks, knowing Tanuki wouldn't take them lightly. The air grows slightly awkward. Sensing it, Kano asks if he's hungry and invites him in. Dojin is pleasantly surprised by her unexpected hospitality, feeling lucky to be welcomed so warmly. It's New Year's Eve, and she celebrates with Tanuki and Dojin. Tanuki and Dojin are busy playing video games. After Tanuki wins again, Dojin, visibly annoyed, shouts and demands another round. Tanuki tells him to stop, reminding him it's already the 8th game and they're getting late for studying. They had started playing after Tanuki explained why he was late, but now they're stuck in a loop. Dojin snaps, frustrated, and Tanuki asks why. Dojin complains that every time Tanuki is late, it's because of some girl confessing to him. He says he won't be satisfied until he beats Tanuki, calling him a freaking normie. Tanuki replies that he hasn't even responded to her yet. Dojin demands details about what's going on. Meanwhile, Kano, sitting at the table, gets annoyed by their loud voices. She asks when they plan to start studying, reminding them they were the ones who invited her, and now they're just wasting time. Dojin grumbles that it's frustrating Tanuki is the only one getting attention, but Kano isn't interested in their argument. She sternly says she's been waiting, and they need to learn to keep their promises. Her glare silences them, and they finally decide to stop playing. An hour ago, Tanuki came home late. When asked why, he explained that since joining the committee, a girl had confessed to him. Afterward, they invited Kano to study with them to make sure they stayed focused. Dojin then tells Tanuki he should keep it a secret from his sister, admitting he thought Tanuki liked her. Tanuki clarifies that he just wants to be honest with her. Dojin scoffs, thinking that might be an even more complicated kind of love. Dojin, Tanuki, and Kano are seated around the same table, burying themselves in their studies. Meanwhile, she's wrestling with a girl's confession that's thrown her for a loop. Is she feeling something for him without even realizing it? Memories of a muddy, golden ball-making Tanuki from 5th grade pop up, But instead of nostalgia, she's just annoyed by that darn confession. Somehow it's managed to ruffle her feathers. But after a quick internal pep talk, she puts on a poker face. Just when things start feeling tense, Tanuki chimes in with some news about joining the executive committee for field day. She plays it cool, tuning in to what he's saying. And then, out of the blue, he invites her to check out the field day next week. Cue the staring contest as they try to play it cool, despite a hint of nerves. Kano had plans to attend his field day, but Dujin quickly shut that down. He warned her that their relationship could no longer stay under wraps, as gossip was already swirling around the school. Tanuki surprisingly agreed with his blunt assessment, citing rumors about her appearance, style, conversations, demeanor, and even her family ties. Dojin recognized that rumors were just a game of telephone gone wrong, with folks spreading misinformation to cause harm. Despite his efforts to shield his sister from public knowledge, he realized that keeping her hidden could backfire and put her at greater risk. He is aware that she has been threatened using his name. He knows the reason behind her current situation is his protection. If this continues, her dignity would be damaged, and it would become impossible to reset her understanding. So he decides to make everyone know that they are siblings. In order to trigger her, he says that he is aware of her antisocial nature. He says that she can do whatever she wants. He is not going to force her, then smirks as he knows that he has provoked her by inviting her like this. His plan works, and she agrees to come there. He is glad that the problem is solved. She asks him not to be that happy about it, but he admits to being overjoyed. With this, he continues to make her understand steadily. At night, she is lying on her bed, thinking that she just got up and agreed to go. Again, she's confused about the face she is supposed to make when going there. Their understanding level has reached 63%. Next day at school, the executive committee members are making preparations for the field day. Bandai appreciates everyone for being there on time. Machuzuki asks Tanuki to do their best together. Only 1 week is left in the field day. Bandai asks everyone for the final preparations for the management. He guides the members to move in pairs. He insists that the movements of the prep squad will decide the fate of field day. He encourages them to work together for the event. Tanuki and Machuzuki are assigned the task of preparing for the scavenger hunt race. They are guided to put the theme in the envelope after writing it on a card. Tanuki starts writing, and she notices him. It seems like he's just writing whatever he wants. She considers writing something like a response to a confession or something along those lines. Then she reminds him that he needs to respond to her confession soon, as she's not going to wait forever. His mind is weighed down by the threat tied to his secret. He doesn't know her true intentions. He's confused. If she really wanted to spread the secret, she could have done it the moment she found out. He boldly declares that he would never stoop to such levels as using something cherished to manipulate a loved one. He deems it distasteful, likening it to holding someone hostage. With a sass-filled challenge, he tells her to spill the beans openly if she truly desires to come clean. Promising a fitting reply if she chooses to be truthful, he leaves no room for games in this verbal showdown. Finished with his part of the preparations, he heads off to do something else. She stands still, watching him, thinking that he really is an interesting guy. He enters the preparation room and opens his bag, looking for his phone. He joined the executive committee just to protect his sister. He is determined to find out Higashioka's weakness and oust him from her school. Furthermore, he has a plan to use the school's position and then infiltrate his sister's high school. He also knows that the students of the correspondence school wear street clothes, and he can enter the school in them. He plans to use some companions as his relatives. Finally, he jumps into the school, determined that Higashioka alone can't face him. He must have to find his weakness and find a way so that other people don't figure him out. He is wearing a cap to hide his face and suddenly collides with Kano. During the collision, he attaches his recording device to her bag. She calls out to him, but he doesn't look back. She assumes he must be the quiet type. As he disappears into the crowd of students, she stands still, struck by a strange sense of familiarity. For a moment, she thinks he might be Tanuki, but quickly dismisses it. He's from the school next door after all. She chalks it up to her imagination. Kano stands silently outside the guidance counseling room, fear evident in her trembling eyes. Tears threaten to fall as she braces herself. Just around the corner, Tanuki watches, unable to read her expression clearly. But even from a distance, her distress is unmistakable. He wants to rush in, to protect her, but all he can do is remain hidden and observe. The door opens. Higashioka greets her with a cold smile, commenting on her lateness but pretending to understand her hesitation. He eyes her like prey, noting how her nervousness and shaky voice make her look like a frightened kitten. He starts speaking about her brother, claiming he met Tanuki the day before and handed him a list of her future goals. Twisting the truth, he lies that Tanuki refused to acknowledge her as family, insinuating that he's disgusted by her presence and tired of the act. Higashioka's words grow darker. He implies that Tanuki, being a young boy with no blood ties to her, must have ulterior motives, that his insistence they aren't siblings is a cover for something indecent. Disguising manipulation as concern, Higashioka tries to shatter her trust and isolate her. Behind the closed door, Tanuki listens, heart pounding. Rage builds inside him as Higashioka's intentions become clear. He's trying to dominate and control Kano by severing her bond with Tanuki. But Tanuki trusts her. He knows she won't break. Inside the room, Kano's self-doubt rises. For a moment she wonders if she's truly a burden. But then, Tanuki's words echo in her mind. Words of support, of family, of love. She stands up straight, wipes her tears, and pushes Higashioka's hand away. Her voice, though quiet, is firm. She tells him that Tanuki has never lied to her, and never will. Higashioka blinks, caught off guard. With a small smirk, she looks him dead in the eye, and warns him not to underestimate her brother, or her. Higashioka stares at Kano in disbelief, convinced her younger brother must have helped her see the truth. Trapping her against the door with his arms, he insists he's her only ally, and warns she'll end up alone if she trusts her brother. But she smiles calmly and says she isn't alone anymore. She has a family now. His eyes widen in shock, and he sinks to his knees, unable to believe this is the same girl he met 2 years ago. Back then, she was 18, thrown out of her home during the COVID crisis, taken in by relatives, and completely lost. When asked about her future, she had no clear answer, until she admitted she wanted to be a cosmetician, like her mother, believing that helping at the salon might win her mother's affection and bring her home again. Moved by her vulnerability and quiet determination, Higashioka had vowed to guide her, but not selflessly. Haunted by his past as a hot-blooded instructor, when a student he tried to save from abuse falsely accused him and destroyed his career, he had shut himself off emotionally. Isolated and bitter, he found refuge in a correspondence school job through an acquaintance, determined never to grow close to a student again. But Kano's brokenness reignited his obsession. Rather than simply support her, he resolved to isolate her, ensuring she relied only on him. Now, as she stands firm and walks away with newfound strength, he realizes he has lost his grip on her completely. Then he remembers when Kano came into her life, and he decided to help her as far as she goes. He would do his duties only as a school staff member. She really had a wonderful goal, so there was no point in wasting time. They decided to do their best to achieve her goal. She had tears in her eyes, and he moved up by her tears immediately. So he decided to protect the lonely, noble Kano Komaru, lead her to a normal, happy life, and teach her how the world works. He planned to brainwash her and isolate her from her family and parents, so that he is the only one left whom she can trust. That's the only way of living with her happily. She asked about his own goals, but he buried them for her benefit. He forgot his sister, his family, and the only focus was her goal. In the present, he is making her afraid that her advancing education will cost money and cause problems for her family. There are chances that she will end up all alone again, but she has a hope in her eyes. She says that she would talk to her family about everything. She says that there are a bunch of problems she needs to talk to her family, but for now her younger brother is there for her help. She refuses to fulfill Higashioka's desires the way he wants. She just pays gratitude for his efforts and leaves the room. Meanwhile, he feels dumb that she doesn't need him anymore. He is looking at her going and scratches the floor with his nails. He begs her not to leave him alone. Tanuki has understood that Higashioka's weakness is his loneliness, and the best way to teach him a lesson is to make Kano understand. Then he steps forward and thinks to take the recorder after getting home. Suddenly, Machuzuki appears there, and she asks if he is having fun. She asks him the reason for being there, and reminds him that they should be in pairs. Tanuki stands before Machuzuki, unsure of her intentions. He feels the need to warn her before she's drawn into the dangerous orbit of the correspondence school, but her behavior puzzles him. When he casually asks about the event preparations, she replies that she's finished everything, then abruptly shifts the conversation to his sister. Tanuki grows wary. If her motives were romantic, her attitude wouldn't be so confrontational. Suspicious, he begins to wonder if she has another agenda. Suddenly, he hears students approaching. Panicked, he realizes Mochizuki's uniform will expose them as outsiders, and if anyone, especially Higashioka, spots them, it could blow everything. Acting quickly, he grabs her hand and leads her to a nearby washroom to avoid being seen. While hiding, they overhear students gossiping about a past scandal involving a couple caught in the same location, which makes things even more tense. After the voices fade, Machuzuki jokes that it feels like a secret date. Tanuki, flustered, tries to keep it serious, but she continues to tease, suggesting he relieve his tension or even make the rumor come true. Stunned, he realizes her tactics have shifted from threats to seduction. He sharply shuts her down, telling her not to treat herself so lightly. If he were the wrong kind of guy, he could have taken advantage of her. His words sting, and she quietly asks if he really thinks she's that manipulative. Tanuki, caught off guard, starts to question what she truly feels.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away. Had to find the place